Hey everyone, welcome back to Hidden Tale. I'm Krown, and today we have some unbelievable stories for you. From crazy encounters with entitled parents to the joy of serving justice, we've got it all. So sit back, relax, and enjoy these amazing stories. Let's go! This happened to me a while ago and I thought you folks would get a kick out of it. I had reported to work on this particular Monday where I'm the site supervisor for an armed security account, only to discover that the blasted idiots who work the night shift had not only left me an empty coffee pot, a mortal sin, but had entirely cleaned me out of coffee, leaving me with nothing but an empty container devoid of my much-needed morning caffeine. The inconsiderate so-and-sos. Grumbling, I went off to the local market to buy some caffeinated goodness to keep my heart beating through my busy day. Mind you, I'm in uniform, which means black pants, a dress shirt with my badge, and various security emblems. My duty belt with a firearm, baton, handcuffs, and so on. For the sake of those squeamish folks who go all pale when they see a firearm, I also donned a windbreaker with security written across the back in 6-foot-high day-glow yellow letters. In other words, I looked nothing like any of the market workers whose uniform consisted entirely of a green apron. Now mind you, I probably could have handled this better, but I was grumpy. It was a Monday morning without coffee after all. So I'm standing just inside the door of the market reading the chalkboard where they have written their menu for the small cafe they run, when this entitled woman on her cell phone walks up to me and tries to hand me a slip of paper. Okay, I'm a bit confused, but I take it and give it a look. But as soon as I do, the entitled woman makes a little shooing motion, walks away, and sits down on a bench by the door. She never says a word to me, doesn't even really look at me, barely acknowledges my existence, and just walks off. So I'm kind of annoyed, you might say. I look at this piece of paper and it's a list of, you guessed it, groceries. What? So I wander over and politely inquire as to what exactly this is and why she had seen fit to hand it to me. She says, "My grocery list, of course. Fetch them for me. I'm in a hurry and can't be bothered. I'm on a very important phone call." And again with a shooing motion. Now, I've been going to this market for nearly 5 years and I can assure you, they don't fetch your groceries for you. So after some consideration, I very carefully rolled her list into a tight little ball, dropped it on her lap, and loudly growled at her to get moving and do her own shopping, then turned around and walked off. I heard her screeching out something behind me, but I just ignored her and kept walking. At this point, I seriously thought she would take the hint, see the day glow letters on my jacket and buy a clue. But oh no, she's just not that smart. She instead chases me down and starts yelling about how she's going to get me fired and I need to fetch her groceries right now. Trying to remain calm, I politely, honestly but forcefully told her again very clearly that I don't work here, do your own shopping lady, and left. Thinking that's the end of it, I went off to get a cup of wonderful hot coffee at the cafe and then moved on to the Isle of Heaven, where I was busily pursuing their fine selection of lovely roasted goodness, when who should appear but the entitled woman with a gentleman in tow. She's loudly berating him about his lazy workers and demanding I be fired on the spot. The poor gentleman looks confusedly at me, then at her, and informs her, "He doesn't work here. We don't employ security, ma'am." Being a bit of a jerk, I waved at her, gave her a big smile, and agreed with him. She absolutely loses it. Goes completely insane. She starts screaming that I need to fetch her groceries right now or she's going to get us all fired, and that she's an important person and how we will regret treating her this way and blah blah blah. The gentleman finally gets a word in edgewise and again informs her that I don't work here and I don't have to do anything for her. This is when I can see a dim light bulb go off in her head and see a glimmer, tiny but there, of understanding beginning to dawn in her eyes. This dim light is however quickly squashed by her overinflated sense of entitlement as she promptly replies in the snottiest voice possible with, Well, he's obviously a menial of some sort. Make him. To say this got me a tad riled up is perhaps an understatement, so I shoved a one-finger salute into her face and told her emphatically to go bother someone else. That gentleman quickly got between us and loudly told her, in no uncertain terms, that 1. Again, I did not work there, and 2. That she needed to get out of his store right now. She literally screamed at the top of her lungs, no words, just rage, and started demanding to see someone in charge so she could get us all fired, and someone better get her groceries, and how she was going to sue us all. Didn't we know how important she was? The gentleman, who I had naturally assumed was a manager, promptly got right back in her face and yelled over her that he was the owner, his family had owned the place for 20 years, and they had never in all that time done someone's shopping for them. Ever. He then grabbed her by the arm and literally dragged her off towards the front of the store. At that point, I was just shaking my head in disbelief, but I just went ahead, made my selection of fine coffees, and wandered over to stand in line to pay for it. As I'm there at the register, the owner came up to me and actually apologized for that woman's behavior, and we shared a what the mess moment. We ended up just laughing at how silly she was, or crazy, either way. He even tried to let me have the coffee for free, but I thanked him and told him it wasn't his fault, but the entitled woman was so silly and I was fine with paying for it. Now you would think that was the end of it. I mean, it was crazy, but weird stuff happens. People are silly, whatever. But oh no, dear readers, it would appear that we have both underestimated the depth of that woman's craziness, because as we walked through the door to the outside world, who, to our astonishment, was there waiting for us? The entitled woman. It turns out she had actually called the police on us, and the foolish brat was out there screaming at the officer, demanding that we be arrested for not serving her, and how she wanted us both fired, and she was going to sue, and that someone had better get her groceries right now. My jaw dropped. I don't mind saying it, and I was beyond shocked. I honestly started laughing at that point. This lady was certifiably nuts. Because of my job, we happened to work closely with the local police department, so I actually recognized the officer that had responded to the call and gave Officer Betsy a wave when she looked at me. She gave me a grin and walked over, asking me exactly what was going on. We both gave our side of the story, and the owner asked that she be removed from the property, please, as she was at this point causing a scene. Betsy just rolled her eyes, walked over, and told the entitled woman that she needed to leave right now, immediately, or she will be charged with trespassing. Now, do you ever have that moment when you can see something bad start to happen, but your mind just can't quite believe it's actually occurring? Well, I saw it start, clear as day, as the entitled woman reared back and started to go off again. And yep, there it was. She actually jammed her finger into Officer Betsy's sternum. Not once, but twice. It might have been a third time, but Officer Betsy had at that point picked her up, flipped her over, and dropped the entitled woman on her head. She landed on top of her, had her handcuffed in record time, got back up, opened her door, slid her into the back of her patrol car, and slammed the door on her. We all just stood there shaking our heads in total disbelief as that woman started to scream, thrash about, and kick at the windows of the squad car. She was still doing it as Officer Betsy drove off to the station too. Mad stuff. I have a female dog and a male dog. The two are both great and really support me when I have nothing to do during the pandemic. Just note, this story goes way back to 2019 in the United Kingdom, so I don't completely know the dialogue. And the male dog wasn't neutered at that time, but I got the female dog 3 months prior in 2019, so she didn't completely love the male dog. However, in today's time, he is neutered, and I have 7 cute puppies. Anyway, on to the cast. Me, male dog, female dog, the entitled mother, also known as Devil's Assistant, her nice kid, and the police officer. So it's a nice day in 2019 and I had nothing to do, so my male and female dogs and I went to a park primarily for dogs. Almost every family there has a dog, and it's a quite popular park with a children's play area, of course, with open areas to play around with dogs and other pets too. So I found a big area with a lake next to it and played who could catch the ball first. Enter the star of the story coming near me. Hey, could I have part of this area? Oh yes, no problem. I forgot to mention they do have a dog, but it isn't a big part of the story. These dogs look adorable. Could my kid pet him? Of course. The nice kid looked like a 6 to 8-year-old with ginger hair and also looked kind of shy. What kind of dogs are they? Are they easy to find? Well, one is male and the other one is female. And wait, what? Was there something? In a quick rush, she asks, "Is a male dog neutered?" No. I should not have said their genders. Oh my god, that's illegal. How come? You fool! They are going to do stuff together, so you better go to a vet now. Look, if these dogs are bothering you, you should go to the other side of the lake. You what? Eventually, she cooled down, then did something I would never forget. She ran and clutched the male dog, yanked him, and ran far away. Instantly, I ran after her with a female dog running faster. Luckily, the female dog got the entitled mother to trip over. I didn't care if the entitled mother was hurt, I just wanted to get out of here and be dealt with. But when I got in my position to run, I heard the "Stop!" The entitled mother did the smart Karen trick of shouting, "But I stole her dog and bet I kicked her." I thought I messed up. A police officer says, "What's going on?" I heard a shout. I instantly said before she could get any words in, "She tried to steal my dog." Well, I was able to witness half of it. "Ma'am, you have to leave now." "Thank you, Lord." I say, "Wait, what about your dog?" She said, "Uh-oh." She tried to run but couldn't, so the police officer had to escort her to her kid 7 meters away. The kid was there with another dog playing catch, so at least he was entertained while his mother got chased by some average weight 19-year-old man. Of course, I pressed charges on her, and another thing I would never forget when being escorted by the police officer. The entitled mother tried to flip me off, but the police officer slapped her hand down. Ever since that happened, I've kinda got anxiety when taking my dogs in public, but it took a couple of weeks to get past that. Let's hope I don't see that brat again. Some background first. I'm agoraphobic, which means that I have frequent panic and anxiety attacks, so I almost never leave home. And even minor tasks can be very stressful to me. Second, I live in the same apartment complex as a childhood friend who helps me out because of my condition. We will call him Greg, since he's in charge of maintenance for this and several other apartment complexes. Management knows about my condition. Third, I got a kitten a couple of months ago to keep me company and named him Hops, after Calvin and Hops. And lastly, Greg has a son who we will call Jacob. The story starts a couple of weeks after I brought Hops home. After hearing about the kitten, Jacob brought a group of kids over and they came in to play with Hops for a while I did some cleaning. One of the kids, Caleb, kept saying how he wanted to keep Hops and even asked me if he could have him. Obviously, I said no and thought he was joking anyway, so I thought nothing of it. The problem is that Caleb started showing up at my door every single day to see Hops, knocking on my door repeatedly about 20 times a day. Greg has made Jacob aware of my condition, so he knows that a lot of the time I just don't have the energy to deal with a bunch of kids, and he was nice enough to pull Caleb away, for which I am very grateful. One day I woke up to find my back door wide open and I immediately started to panic. Hops was obviously gone and this sent me into an anxiety attack. Eventually I calmed down and hoped that he would come back on his own. Meanwhile, I have been trying to figure out who came into my apartment. At this point, Greg, who knows everyone in the neighborhood since he does maintenance, pointed out that the couple who lives behind me has a camera hooked up to their window watching their car, which happens to be right next to my back door. He asks them if they could check the footage, and after hearing the story, they happily obliged to help out. I was fairly certain it was Caleb, but didn't want to accuse a child with no evidence. And I'm glad I didn't, because it wasn't Caleb who came into my apartment. It was his mother, the Karen of our story. She opened my back door, walked straight in, and came out moments later with my cat. The neighbors even checked the nights prior, and she had been checking my door every night for several days, probably longer, but recordings were automatically deleted after several days. So there is no saying how long she was doing this. I know a lot of people are going to tell me I should have immediately called the cops, but please try to understand. This situation was already very stressful for me, and getting the police involved would only make it worse. Instead, Greg and I went over to Karen's apartment to confront her and get Hops back. I agreed to let Greg do the talking, and we knocked on the door. Karen answered the door with a "What do you want?" and Greg started talking immediately. Now, Greg is very charismatic and is a no-nonsense kind of guy when things get serious. So I am paraphrasing this speech very poorly, but it went something like this. "Hey Karen, we know you have this poor kid's cat in there. So here is how this is going to go. You're going to give the cat back and apologize. Then you are going to have Caleb apologize for knocking on a poor kid's door all day every day and forbid him from going over there anymore. If you don't, we are going to get the police involved. Not just for breaking and entering, but because I know for a fact that you have illegal substances in this apartment. I see them every time you put in a maintenance request, which is almost every week. So, let's cut the part where you deny it all and jump to the part where you tell me how this is going to play out." During his speech, Karen's face went from annoyance to indignation to worry and then to anger. By this time, Caleb is in the background and we can see him holding Hops. Karen looked like she was having an intense internal battle. On one hand, she was cornered, but on the other hand, she could never possibly be in the wrong because the world revolves around her. And finally, she spoke and said, "You don't have proof. I bought this cat for my son, and you can't prove that I didn't." To which Greg replied, "Are you absolutely sure that's how you want to do this?" Karen then responded with the most snarky, entitled "Screw you," that I think any person has ever conjured in the history of mankind. Then she slammed the door in our faces. By this point, we were out of options. I agreed to call the police and report the incident. We got the recordings from the neighbors and waited for the police to arrive. The officers showed up, and after hearing the story and watching the video, they immediately went over to confront Karen. Even from a distance, I could see her mouth drop into a perfect comical O shape when she saw two police officers at her door. The officers explained to her that I was not pressing charges if she just gave the cat back. As regulars of this subreddit know, though, you can always rely on a Karen to dig in her heels and double down on their bad decisions. I could not hear exactly what was said, but heard Karen getting louder and more enraged every time she spoke. Finally, she crossed the line and tried to shove one of the officers. Next thing we knew, she was face down on the concrete and was being told her rights. I doubt she heard any of it though, because she was screeching all the typical Karen lines like, "You can't do this to me," and "I know such and such, I'll have you fired." It was actually a pretty pathetic display to see from a grown woman. By now, Caleb was in tears, still holding my cat. He walked up to one of the officers, legs shaking, and handed him the cat. It almost broke my heart when he asked if they could let his mom go now. The officer was kind, but explained that his mother had assaulted the cop and was likely going to jail. So I did get Hops back, but for a week, I felt awful about making Caleb see all that and probably scarring him for life. Fortunately, there is a happy ending here. Now, when Karen got arrested, Greg knew I wouldn't press charges, so she would likely only be charged for the assault. This is why he decided to inform management, and they pressed charges on my behalf for breaking and entering into one of their properties, as well as illegal substance trafficking out of another property. Long story short, she is in prison. Here is a happy ending for her kid though. Apparently, his dad had lost a very long custody battle a couple of years prior, and this little incident naturally meant that he now had custody. Greg met him once when they came to get Caleb things from Karen's apartment, and apparently He was a very nice man, the polar opposite of Caleb's banshee of a mother. She had gained full custody of Caleb mainly by lying, but it seems that Caleb will now be raised by a rational adult. Hello everyone. Today my eyes do not hurt that much, and the baby is sleeping peacefully. So time to write another story that happened when I was working in Japan. As mentioned in another post, I was a property manager, managing a set of hostels and guest houses. This happened during the high season called the Golden Week. Prices were getting ridiculously expensive, even in guest houses and hostels. Our normal rates are about 1,000 yen for one night during the normal season, around $10 on weekdays. Weekends can be more expensive, 3,000 yen, so $30. These prices are for one single bed in a bunk bedroom, which means you would share the room with many other people and also share accommodations such as showers and toilets. People who are used to hostels know what I mean. I was training one new receptionist, a lovely young girl from Michigan who was absolutely amazing and friendly. She was a perfect fit for the job, fast learner, friendly and positive. I told her that she was ready for her first shift alone, but if she needed me, she could send me a text anytime, and I'll get straight to the reception. Don't forget, as mentioned in my other post, we have cameras in the lobby recording all the time to protect my staff from furious guests. Later, her first guest arrived. One man in his early 30s looked friendly at first. They spoke a bit, and yeah, fun fact, he was also from Michigan and blah blah blah. A few minutes later, I received a simple message: help. I got to the front and the guy looked so mad. Yeah, he wanted to talk to a manager. I introduced myself and asked what problem we were facing. Your staff showed me my room, and it seems that it's just a bed, and other people were inside too. Yes, this is a dorm. Did you book a private room? I'm not sharing my space with people who potentially have diseases or are snoring. And your staff, pointing at my poor receptionist, who is totally confused, told me I have one bed in this massive room and I want a private room. Let me check your reservation, sir. I got onto the computer and checked his reservation. Sir, it seems like you have booked a bed in the 10-person dormitory room. Therefore, there is nothing we can change about it. Okay then, I want an upgrade. Get me a private room. I would love to, sir, but unfortunately we are full for tonight. Okay then, I want a refund. There is no way I'm going to stay here. I'm looking for another place. Up to you, sir, but unfortunately I cannot refund you. You made a reservation on X travel agency, and this travel agency has its own cancellation policy. In your case, you had to cancel 2 weeks prior to your arrival to be eligible for a full refund. That is nonsense. And I never wanted to book a bed in a dormitory. Who does that? Are you crazy? Sir, calm down please. We just received your reservation the way you made it. Plus, it's a very good deal. You made the reservation more than 6 months in advance when our price was the lowest possible. I don't care. Give me my refund. Sir, you have paid online. The only people who may be able to refund you is a booking service you used to make a reservation, not us. You guys are just trying to take advantage of me. I demand to speak to a manager. Sir, like I said, I am the manager. I really apologize for the trouble you're going through, but I cannot refund you. And I will personally advise you to stay. It's a nice place. You'll meet nice people here to hang out with. I don't care about people. I want my privacy. Before moving on, I'll give you a small explanation about travel agencies. There are many of them. Booking.com, Expedia, Hostel World, and so on. All of them have different cancellation policies. In that entitled customer's case, he had to cancel 2 weeks prior to his arrival to get refunded. One exception is he could be refunded if he could prove he could not get to our place for exceptional circumstances, like he missed his flights or whatever. Sir, why did you book a bed in a dorm if you didn't want it, if I may ask you? I didn't know. I just booked the cheapest place I found on the internet. So, you have booked a place and even did not read what you have booked? Correct. And you want us to refund you for a mistake that you have made? I did not make a mistake, I just didn't know what I had booked. So please, can I get a refund? 1 minute, sir. In that kind of situation, we want to avoid people cursing or yelling, so what we do is we call the travel agency customer service and provide all the information from our point and from the travel agency point of view, and calmly explain to the guest that indeed he cannot be refunded for X reason and our establishment is not responsible for the problem. Unfortunately. On speaker, how can I help you? The travel agency representative asked. I have a guest, booking number XX, and the customer wants to get a refund for his reservation. Alright, what is the reason? The guest made a mistake and did not know what he booked. Understand? Wait, what? You heard me. The guest clearly made a reservation for a bed in a 10-person bedroom and did not expect to have to share the space with other people. That is not it. I just booked the cheapest place I found. I did not expect it to be a dorm. The customer corrected me. Sir, you made a booking on our website, right? Yes. And you did receive a confirmation email, right? Yes. Did you read that email? No need to. All these emails are the same anyway. Sir, we are sending those emails also to make sure that you know why you have booked. If you did not read your reservation, the establishment cannot be responsible for that mistake. And unfortunately, the refund cannot be processed. That is nonsense. Anyway, I want to cancel it. This place is awful. I'm not staying here anyway. Sir, really? I don't want to sound rude, but I would strongly advise you not to cancel. Prices are crazy right now. The single bed you have on your reservation costs you only 1 Salon Yen plus tax. The price at that moment is about 12 Salon Yen per night for one bed in dorm rooms in most hostels. Around $120. Nonsense! You just want to take my money away. Please, sir, try not to swear. We all remain polite so far. I want to cancel this reservation right now. I got back to the travel agency representative and said, you heard it. Guest called X with a reservation number X wants to cancel. I will therefore cancel the reservation according to the guest's wish. Confirmed. Guest called X with a reservation number X will have his reservation cancelled. Have a good day. The customer grumbled and then swore before leaving. I'll get my money back, one way or another. Your place is awful anyway, the service is terrible. I exchanged some eye contact with the poor receptionist as the guest stormed away. Don't worry, not all guests are like that. I said, don't worry, not everyone in Michigan is like that. She replied. We laughed and got back to business. Epilogue. It was now 7:30 p.m. raining so much and guess who came back? Sorry for what I did earlier. I got a bit carried away. Could I still have my bed? The entitled customer asked. Sorry, sir. As you requested, your reservation had been cancelled, and someone already made a reservation. We are totally full. But where am I supposed to sleep? Everything is either too expensive or fully booked. In Japan, you can sit in some places such as McDonald's and internet cafes, but you need to order food. And of course, these places cannot be held responsible for your belongings. I wanted to be fair and give him a few addresses for hotels that may have availability. We sold a bed, which was basically 1 Salon Yen, for 15 Salon Yen. He sent some emails to the travel agency stating that he never came to our place, nor to Japan. The travel agency emailed us back and I simply sent the footage about the conversation we had during the afternoon. If you think that 15 Salon Yen is expensive for only one bed in a dormitory, I'll let you guess how much it will cost even in a 3-star hotel. Enjoy your stay in Japan. About 2 years ago, I worked at an insurance company handling auto collision claims and overseeing repairs at a particular body shop. I was coming into work on a Monday morning and already had an irate voicemail from a customer, let's call her Karen. And Karen had left a voicemail demanding that I go to the shop and inspect the damages to her 2019 Lincoln Navigator because she had to go on vacation. I already had the assignment from our claims department and was at the shop. The shop said Karen had the vehicle dropped over the weekend and had authorized repairs already. I did the inspection with the shop. Damages were around $7,000. Hood, windshield, right fender, and front bumper needed to be replaced. I figured it was a deer hit due to the impact. I called Karen back thinking I was providing an awesome update and told her the repairs would take about 2 weeks and that I would cover her rental for the whole time. Karen complained when she was told that. 2 weeks? This is so inconvenient. I go on my vacation in 2 weeks and I need this to be done on time. Are they using all original manufacturer parts? My navigator is brand new. I told her that the shop had already ordered parts and that I had approved original manufacturer parts. Good. Now the lady I spoke to about the claim said that I owe a deductible of $500. Is there any way it'll be waived because the accident wasn't my fault? Or do I have to go after the child for it? Wait, what? A child hit my brand new navigator. Didn't you see the information on a claim? Karen then recounted for me the way the accident happened, at least as she recalled it. Karen was on her way home from work the previous Friday when a child ran from out of nowhere and hit her brand new navigator. Karen was adamant that she was traveling 35 miles per hour, the speed limit on that road. I told Karen that I wasn't sure if the deductible would be waived and that I'd have to check with a claims adjuster. Karen then said, "That's fine, I have the child's information from the police report. He looked poor and they are from the poor side of town. I'll talk to my lawyer and see if I can sue them for my deductible, but they probably don't have very much money. I hope these poor people don't try to sue me." I couldn't get off the phone fast enough with Karen and called her claims adjuster. The claims adjuster said that she was trying to make contact with the parents of the kid Karen hit, that Karen's deductible wouldn't be waived and that she was still investigating the facts of the loss. I didn't want to talk to that woman anytime soon, so I asked the claims handler to call Karen and let her know. A few days later, Karen called me again. "My claims adjuster is completely useless. She won't waive my deductible, and this could really affect my vacation. That shop is completely useless. I called the shop and asked if they would waive my deductible, and they said no. Can you believe the audacity of those people? I don't want to take this cheap rental car with me on vacation. Can't you make them go faster?" I checked with the shop's production manager and confirmed that the parts had arrived, and the hood, fender, and bumper were in paint. The shop was on track to finish on time. I told Karen, "On time? What do you mean on time? I have a vacation soon, and I don't care what you or the shop or that little girl in claims say. I'm getting my deductible paid by that dumb child and its filthy parents. But they'll pay me for all the stress they've caused me." Karen hung up after that, and I didn't talk to her again until the repairs were finished on her navigator. Karen came to the shop and was demanding that her deductible be waived even then. I called her claims adjuster and put the claims adjuster, let's call her Mary, on the phone. "Hi Karen, you do owe your full deductible of $500. While I'm on the phone with you, I wanted to let you know that the little boy's parents gave me a copy of the police report. It shows that he was sped past a stopped school bus and didn't stop for the traffic arm. Correct?" Karen went off. She demanded Mary's supervisor's name and my supervisor's name and said that we were calling her a liar. She paid with a gold credit card for her deductible and peeled out of the parking lot. Karen almost immediately wrote reviews on Yelp and Google, calling the shop the worst experience of her life since her deductible wasn't waived and the staff was rude and inconsiderate. She talked to my supervisor and Mary's supervisor and called us both incompetent. When she did the claim survey, she gave us both 1 out of 10. Anyways, I hope the kid's parents sued her for everything she's worth. Thank you for watching Hidden Tale. If you like today's stories, please hit the like button and subscribe for more great content. Share your thoughts in the comments below and tell us if you've had a similar experience. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next episode.